There comes a moment in every person's life when the heart feels heavy, not because something terrible happened today, but because the mind keeps running toward tomorrow. We begin to ask ourselves, what will happen next? What if things don't go the way I hope? What if I'm not ready for the challenges waiting ahead? And slowly, without even realizing it, we start living more in our fears than in our present, more in assumptions than in gratitude, more in imagined scenarios than in the moment Allah has placed before us right now. I want you to pause with me just for a moment, take a breath, and ask yourself gently, why am I carrying the weight of a future that hasn't come yet? Why am I draining my heart with fears that Allah did not write for me? Sometimes we forget that the one who wrote our futures is the same one who carried us through every past difficulty, every moment of confusion, every season of uncertainty we survived. Think about this for a second. How many times in your life did you fear something would break you, yet you are sitting here right now, watching this, breathing, learning, growing? How many nights did you fall asleep worried, only to wake up and find the problem solved in a way you didn't expect? How many tears did you shed thinking a situation would never change? Yet Allah changed it in the most beautiful way. If He took care of yesterday, why would He abandon tomorrow? We worry because we forget. We forget His power. We forget His mercy. We forget that He is closer than our own heartbeat, more aware of our struggles than even we are. And because of that forgetfulness, the heart becomes restless. It starts imagining all the possible difficulties ahead, all the possible losses, all the uncertainties we cannot control. And slowly, we drown in thoughts that were never meant to be carried alone. My dear listener, worry steals the sweetness of the present moment. It takes away the ability to appreciate what you have right now. Your health, your loved ones, the safety around you, the breath you are taking at this very second. Worry does not prevent grief. It only steals joy. It does not fix the future. It only burdens the present. And it pulls your heart away from the one who designed every tomorrow. Let me share with you something I once reflected on deeply. Imagine a child walking with their parent. The child does not worry about where they are going. They simply walk, trusting the hand they are holding. They look around, noticing the trees, the sky, the small details of life. They do not carry fear of what street they will turn on next or what challenges might come. Their peace comes from the trust that their parent will lead them exactly where they need to be. Now imagine yourself walking through life, holding Allah's guidance as your hand. If a child can trust their parent so effortlessly, how can we not trust the Creator who knows every hidden detail, every unseen path, every protection we cannot see, and every blessing we have not yet received? Sometimes we think worrying means we care. We think worrying means we are responsible. But caring is different from fearing. Planning is different from panicking. Being prepared is different from being consumed by thoughts that weaken the heart. Let me ask you a question you may not have asked yourself in a long time. When was the last time you sat with your thoughts and said, enough? My heart belongs to Allah. My future belongs to Allah. My fears belong to Allah, and He can handle them better than I ever will. There is something incredibly calming that happens when you shift your mindset from what if, to even if, what if things fall apart, becomes even if they fall apart, Allah will guide me. What if I fail? Becomes even if I fail, Allah will teach me. What if I'm not enough? Becomes even if I feel weak, Allah is stronger than everything that scares me. This mindset is not denial. It is surrender. It is empowerment. It is intentional living rooted in inner peace. It frees you from the prison of assumptions and brings you back to what truly matters. Showing up with sincerity today, right now, in this moment, in this breath. Let me share something personal. Not a story from a book, but something from life. There are people who spend years worrying about their future wealth, only to realize later that the risk they feared losing was already written for them. There are people who worry about losing relationships, only to find that Allah replaces what is taken with something far better for their heart. And there are people who worry about their abilities, only to discover strength inside themselves they never knew existed. Isn't it interesting that most of what we worried about in the past never actually happened? And if some of it did happen, somehow we still made it through. Worrying didn't prevent the hardship. It only made the time leading up to it more painful. But trust made the journey lighter. Allah does not ask us to know the future. He asks us to trust the one who does. He does not ask us to hold the entire world together. He asks us to do our part, and he promises he will take care of the rest. He does not ask us to remove every obstacle. He asks us to walk with faith, even if the path ahead looks uncertain. Let me ask you something else. When you look back at your life, do you notice a pattern of being saved, protected, supported, even in moments when you felt alone? Do you notice that somehow things aligned, doors opened, hearts healed, lessons made sense? If Allah has been carrying you all this time, why would he suddenly stop now? But the future is not the real problem. The real problem is what the future reveals within us. It reveals our attachment. It reveals our fears. It reveals how deeply we depend on control. But the heart is not meant to control. It is meant to surrender, to trust, to flow with the wisdom of Allah. And still we wake up some mornings with heaviness. The mind feels full. The heart feels tight. The thought of tomorrow feels overwhelming. So here is the question that can shift everything. What is my heart seeking right now? Peace, certainty, control, love, protection. Once you know what your heart is seeking, you can redirect it toward the source that never fails. Your inner peace is not found in knowing your future. It is found in knowing Allah. Your confidence is not built by predicting tomorrow. It is built by strengthening your relationship with the one who already wrote tomorrow. Your emotional calm is not achieved by eliminating hardship. It is achieved by trusting that hardship carries wisdom you will understand when the time is right. Imagine waking up tomorrow and choosing to trust more than you fear. Choosing to breathe before you panic. Choosing to remember Allah before you remember your worries. Choosing to take one small step of intentional living instead of being frozen by what if. This is where transformation begins, from the inside. Let me share a soft reminder. You were not created to be consumed by fear. You were created to know Allah, to worship Him, to grow through Him, to walk through life with a heart anchored in His mercy. You were created to rise above your thoughts, not drown in them. You were created to reflect, to learn, to improve your habits, to build resilience, to develop a purposeful life that honors your values and your spiritual identity. And here is a powerful truth. When you stop worrying about the future, you finally have the energy to improve your present. You become more balanced, more focused, more grateful, more grounded. You start noticing the blessings that were hidden behind your anxieties. You start making decisions from clarity, not fear. You start living intentionally instead of reactively. So today, right now, I want you to ask yourself a simple but transformative question. What is one small thing I can release today so my heart becomes lighter? What fear can I place gently in Allah's hands? What worry can I let go of, even if just for a moment, to breathe more deeply? The moment you let go, the moment you trust her, the moment you surrender, your life begins to shift. Not because the future changes instantly, but because your heart does. And a peaceful heart experiences life differently. It sees blessings where others see problems. It sees growth where others see failure. It sees hope where others see despair. It sees Allah's mercy in places where others see only difficulty. Let this be the beginning of a new chapter for you, a chapter where you choose awareness over heedlessness, intention over fear, presence over anxiety, and trust over doubt. When we speak about stopping worry, we are not talking about pretending everything is perfect. We are not talking about ignoring challenges or denying the reality of life. What we are talking about is something deeper, something more meaningful, something that strengthens you from the inside out. We are talking about learning how to face the unknown with serenity, how to walk toward tomorrow with a heart anchored in Allah, how to live with purpose, presence, and inner peace, even when the future feels uncertain, because the truth is life will always contain uncertainty. There will always be moments where you don't know what is coming next. There will always be seasons of change, and there will always be challenges that stretch you. But the question is, will you let those moments make you fearful? Or will you let them make you faithful? Let me ask you something gently. What if the future you fear is actually carrying blessings you cannot imagine? What if the delay you dislike right now is actually protection? What if the uncertainty that makes you uncomfortable is actually preparing you for a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, more reflective, and more connected to Allah than ever before? You see, worry convinces you that the worst is coming, but trust reminds you that Allah is already there. Worry shrinks your world until all you see are problems. But trust expands your world until you see possibilities, lessons, wisdom, and guidance in every detail. Worry makes you feel alone, but trust reminds you that you have never walked a single step without Allah supporting you. Take a moment to reflect on the last difficulty you overcame. Before the solution appeared, didn't the problem feel overwhelming? But once Allah resolved it, didn't you look back and think, if only I had trusted more, if only I had been calmer, this entire journey would have been lighter on my heart. This is why Allah invites us again and again, in His book, in His signs, in our experiences, to release fear and anchor ourselves in Him. Sometimes the reason we worry so much about the future is because we are disconnected from the present. We are not fully here. Our mind is racing ahead, imagining scenarios, creating assumptions, building stories that may never happen. But when you return to this moment, to this breath, to this heartbeat, to this awareness, your fears lose their power. The present moment is where life actually happens. The present is where peace lives. The present is where gratitude grows. Let me share something beautiful. When you focus on the future too much, you miss the gifts Allah is placing in your life right now. You miss the beauty of your relationships. You miss the sweetness of small blessings. You miss the opportunities to grow today. You miss the signs Allah is sending you. And sometimes you miss the very solutions you are praying for because your mind is too distracted by what might happen tomorrow. Let me ask you, when was the last time you sat in silence and just breathed with awareness? When was the last time you said, "Why Allah, I surrender my future to you. Guide me. Help me, protect me, purify me, make me content with your decree." Sometimes the peace you are searching for begins with one sincere moment of surrender. There is a beautiful truth about Allah. He does not take something from you except to give you something better. He does not write a hardship for you except that he also writes relief. He does not test you except to elevate you. And he never leaves a heart that turns to him empty-handed. So why do we panic when the future feels uncertain? Why do we assume the worst? Why do we let our thoughts overpower our trust? It's because the heart needs reminders. The soul needs nourishment. The mind needs reorientation. And the spirit needs anchoring when you nourish these parts of yourself consistently. Through reflection, prayer, gratitude, dhikr, intentional habits, the fear inside you softens. The worry becomes lighter. And the future becomes less frightening because your heart becomes more connected to the one who controls it. Let me share a gentle story. A young woman once said she feared the future because she didn't know what lay ahead. So she would panic about her career, her relationships, her finances, her purpose. But later she realized something powerful. The reason she was afraid of the future was because she was trying to navigate it without Allah at the center. When she began returning to Him, trusting Him, speaking to Him, handing her fears to Him, the same future that once terrified her became something she looked forward to. Why? Because she was no longer walking alone. Let me ask you something from the heart. What would your life feel like if you truly believed Allah is taking care of you? Not theoretically, not intellectually, but deeply, emotionally, spiritually. What would happen to your worries if you genuinely believed that your future has already been written with wisdom? Would you fear less? Would you breathe deeper? Would you sleep better? Would your heart feel lighter? One of the most transformative habits you can build is reminding yourself daily, I am not alone. My future is not random. My journey is not without purpose. This simple reminder reshapes the entire way you approach life. It brings calmness to your mind. It brings clarity to your decisions. It brings softness to your heart. And it brings intentionality to your daily actions. And yet, we sometimes think that worrying will somehow control the outcome. But worry does not change destiny. It only drains you. What does change your life is effort. What transforms you is intention. What elevates you is consistency. And what protects you is trust in Allah. Let me ask you another reflective question. Are you living today in a way that honors the person you want to become tomorrow? Or are your fears holding you back from taking meaningful steps? Sometimes the future feels overwhelming because we are not aligned with our values today. But when you become intentional, when you purify your habits, refine your mindset, and choose your actions with purpose, the future becomes less intimidating because you know you are walking toward it with sincerity. And here is something deeply empowering. Every time you choose trust over fear, your heart becomes stronger. Every time you choose gratitude over panic, your mind becomes clearer. Every time you choose presence over overthinking, your life becomes more meaningful. These small, consistent choices shape your inner world, and your inner world shapes your experience of the outer world. You are not meant to live life paralyzed by the unknown. You are meant to live with awareness, with growth, with purpose. You are meant to rise, to reflect, to learn, to evolve. You are meant to become someone whose heart is illuminated by faith and whose life is guided by intention. So I want you to imagine the version of you who is not controlled by fear anymore. The version of you who wakes up with calm, who breathes with presence, who makes decisions with clarity, who trusts Allah with sincerity, who moves with purpose, who speaks with kindness, lives with agreement. This version of you exists. This version of you is possible. And the path to becoming that person begins when you stop letting fear shape your life. Let today be the day you release what you cannot control and focus on what you can. Your mindset, your habits, your spiritual connection, your intentional actions, your character, your inner peace. These are the things that transform you. These are the things that empower you. These are the things that reduce your worry because they bring you back to what truly matters. And remember this, the future is not meant to be feared. It is meant to be entrusted to Allah. Your job is to show up today with sincerity. Allah's job is to take care of tomorrow. Your job is to plant the seed. Allah's job is to make it grow. Your job is to walk with effort. Allah's job is to open the path, and He never fails in His promise. So as you move forward, remind yourself gently, my future is safe with the one who created it. Let this belief live in your heart. Let it guide your actions. Let it soften your fears. Let it bring light to your days, and let it bring hope into your nights. May your heart find peace in trusting Allah. May your mind find calm in releasing fear. May your future unfold with blessings you cannot yet imagine. And may you continue walking with purpose, intentionality, and inner peace, knowing that Allah's mercy surrounds you, His wisdom guides you, and His protection covers every tomorrow you have yet to live. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more reflections that support your journey towards spiritual well-being, emotional strength, and meaningful, intentional living.